This video may include mention of a candle business which I co-own. I also may show products that have been gifted to me but I'm not being paid to promote. Finally, I may share links to products which will earn me money if you shop through them. This is all classed as advertising. If I do also include a paid segment, I will tell you in the video and place a disclaimer on the screen.
Hello friends, first of all, before we start anything else, I need to show you something. It's snowing! Real snow! It's snowing. It's the 7th of February, it's snowing. I know, it's exciting. It's really exciting, but I still need to film this video because I haven't filmed anything for you in about a week, maybe more than that. It was my birthday at the weekend. If you follow my vlogs, you will know. I have been vlogging, that's a lot. I've been vlogging pretty much every day. I missed a day because I've just been so tired. I mean, like, not just tired, sleeping all day. Half my birthday, I slept. I don't know what's going on. When I discover that I have some kind of strange illness or disorder, you'll be like, well, yeah. But for right now, all I know is I'm tired all the time. So, you know, diagnose away. Today, I'm going to talk about my candle business. At the weekend, I asked you guys for questions because I posted something and someone asked me questions and was like, I don't even know XYZ. And I said, I feel so uncomfortable promoting the business because I don't want people to feel like I'm being too salesy. This is why I'm so rubbish at YouTube. I don't want people to feel like I'm, like, you know, beating you over the head with it, or that when you watch my YouTube videos, it's very buy, because I also want to be someone who is not necessarily discouraging you, but I don't want to be encouraging you to spend money that you don't have, buy things that you don't need. I got myself into some serious trouble with that when I was younger, and I don't want to be a source of that. So that's another reason that I feel uncomfortable being like, look at my things, buy my things. But it is a business. I run a business with my friend Karen, and she made a really good point that big companies don't care at all, and they promote stuff constantly. And I should feel more confident or comfortable talking about it. So I thought, since it was my birthday at the weekend, I would take the opportunity to be self-indulgent, talk about my business, and do a little Q&A. I got some really great questions, and I'm going to put on some makeup while we go because, of course, what did I just do with that? I've got a cleanser pad thing here, but I never have any time for anything, and so I'm going to do this at the same time because I've just been filming. The amount of time this morning I've spent filming Sims videos, I can't even. 3 hours, and that was only half, and I've still got to edit it. I've been making these videos for another channel because I've got time for that. I make videos about games that I'm playing. I think I'm regressing. It might be a midlife crisis, but I've been doing that this morning, and I was like, ooh, before I log on for work, I really should make this video. So you're really an afterthought. I apologise. Also, lots of happy birthdays. So thank you for those of you who sent me happy birthdays instead of questions as well. I'm going to kick off with a big one because it's so much more in depth than it might appear. For the benefit of everyone, are they 100% non-toxic? So I am not a chemist. I do not feel comfortable saying 100% non-toxic. Here's what I will tell you. If you look up like non-toxic candles, safe candles, whatever, it will often come up with essential oils. Essential oils aren't non-toxic. They are natural, and they can be organic, but they're not non-toxic. Like, lots and lots of animals are very allergic to essential oils, and they would be toxic if you drank them, if you consumed them, they would be toxic. There's loads of things occurring in nature that are toxic. So non-toxic doesn't necessarily mean natural, and natural doesn't necessarily mean non-toxic. We don't use pure essential oils for two reasons. First of all, the pet element, because there are some essential oils that are for sure like a no-no around pets, and obviously we both have pets, we don't want that. Another reason is the volume of an essential oil that you would need to put in wax to get any kind of scent from that oil would be way more than is safe. What we use at a really safe percentage. Like, I've talked about this before, but obviously given that, you know, we're doing this as maybe some of you don't know, there are basically recipes for candles and you discover them over time. So we'll find a scent that we like. I'm currently testing 4 or 5 for our summer range, and some of them are just like, it's nice, but it's not great. I think that someone's at the door and I've got like a splodge of foundation on my face. It was the postie, and I was like desperately doing this to my face all the way downstairs. Right, so what was I talking about? I was talking about non-toxic. Right, so yeah, there's recipes for all the different candles, and effectively we are using the fragrance oils that we get from our trusted providers, which have all got fantastic reviews and we're really happy with. Also, all of the labels have, if you've bought anything from us, on the back of our wax melts or on our candles, you will see there is a warning label on there that does give you like toxic information. All of that information is very specific to the fragrance oil, not the wax, not the product itself, but it's based on, you know, don't consume this. If it's actually just burned in the air, you're absolutely fine. The only thing that I would say we are slightly different with is that we use, that is way too much blush, we use absolutely non-toxic waxes. So you might get a heavier scent from a supermarket candle or from like Bath & Body Works. I love Bath & Body Works. I loved a Bath & Body Works candle for years and years. I am not going to tell you don't buy Bath & Body Works candles because I loved them. They are really, really strong. They're a real hit of wow. However, they are paraffin. It's the same as Yankee candles, and that isn't a non-toxic burn in your house. It's probably going to be fine. Like, it's a little bit like clean beauty. It's a thing that people have an issue with. We prefer soy, we prefer natural things, and I completely get it. You know, you want to burn something around your family, around your pets that isn't toxic. You know, sometimes when you'll like move a photo frame or something and you've got like a dusty mark around it, that chances are soot from candles. And I've had that happen tons. That is not going to happen when you have like a natural wax, untreated wicks, cotton wicks, everything else, everything we've got complete control over, that's completely non-toxic. We use soy coconut wax. So it's even more sustainable than just soy. And it's not paraffin at all. Zero paraffin in any of our candles. I told you, we started with a big one. I feel like that's most of what I wanted to talk about because when I talked about it the other day, that's what people were like, oh, you're using soy and coconut. Like, we didn't know about that. I suppose I do talk here and there about the candles of it all, but I don't really go into the depth. And that's the part that is the real selling point of it, I suppose. Why candles? What made you think, oh, I want to make candles? That is a fair question. So Karen and I are both very kind of like creative, always looking for some kind of project, something to like play with. Karen actually had, she may still do it occasionally, just not at the same level that she was doing it before because we don't have time. But she was making crochet stuff and I helped her create an Etsy shop a couple of years ago. Some of you bought her baby Yodas. They were super cute. So she was doing that. I was obviously doing the YouTube of it all. I was doing like merch and stuff, and she did what did she do? It was some kind of market. I'm trying to remember where it was. Either way, Christmas before last, she did this market, and I was saying to her, I really wish that I had something to sell, because I also did some like illustrations that I was selling online as worded printable illustrations and quotes and stuff like that. I've always had that kind of, I want to do something but I don't know what it's going to be, and I'm horrible with the execution. You know, like if you sold stuff on eBay, you are never going to get that thing. It's going to take me forever to send it. I hate doing all of that. So that was another block. But selling something in person at a store was very appealing to me. And I'd said to her, at some point we'll do something. And I don't know what it was. Something kind of clicked. And it was candles. I can't even tell you specifically. We must have just been like bouncing around ideas. And it was just candles. That was it. Because I love candles. She was more a wax melt. I was more a candle. So that's kind of how we split things. I'll tell you why. I don't have any issue with wax melts. They're actually a much faster hit of fragrance than a candle, which we'll get into. But my problem with wax melts is constantly needing tea lights. So I've got one electric burner in the kitchen, which I really like, but I think I'm going to we have been trying to source some electric burners to put on the website, but they can be quite pricey. And then obviously to sell them at any kind of cost, we don't want to be charging an insane amount of money. We still want to be reasonably priced, which I think we are. But yeah, that's kind of how it came to be. I love a candle. I never don't have, that's a weird phrase. I never don't have a candle burning. And Karen was the same with wax melts, and it just kind of came to be. And then, after about 6 months of like playing around with things and testing, we were online. It was so fast and so slow at the same time. The testing process is laborious. It is very long and tedious. It's the same. And then one day you go, oh, this is it. This is great. It's really frustrating. But I know the amount of waxers that I tried that just were awful, really horrible. A lot of the information online is in America. We don't have the same access to things. Also, our rules are completely different. So if you watch people in America talking about small businesses and you're thinking, I could do that, just look at the rules in the UK because it's different. For example, we've got compliancy labels. Like I said, we've got like warning labels. I don't even think they need them. In the UK, it's not legal to sell candles that look like food or wax melts that look like food. Loads of people do it. You see in actual shops. I think that they can get away with it if they say it's for decoration. But effectively, you can't sell something that looks like food that isn't food. And it must be for children. It must be. But people do it. People do it. And people do it like in shops. So I don't really think these things are like policed very well, or actually those rules are enforced. But it's a bit like the ASA on YouTube. Like I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we've got all the insurances. We follow all the rules. It's a lot more intense than we expected it to be when we decided to, let's make candles. Favourite scent or dream scent you haven't made yet? So I'm constantly looking for, I kind of have an idea in my mind and I keep trying them and they're nice, but they're not quite hitting the spot. I want like a kind of a warm, woodsy, I don't know if I've smelled this before. Maybe it's like an aftershave I've smelled at some point. But I don't know if I've smelled this before or if I'm just imagining. But I kind of want like a warm, woodsy smell. But like not like a fresh aftershave, piney kind of smell. I want like a warm, you know? I don't know. Can you imagine how difficult it is to find it? Because I can't even describe what the scent is. I'll know it when I smell it. And I'll be so excited. We do have, if you followed us when we first started, we had a candle called Mystic Falls, obviously. And really annoyingly, we couldn't get hold of the fragrance oil that again, tested for ages and ages, finally got it exactly right, and then we couldn't get that fragrance oil anymore. And so we just took it off the website and we're trying to find an equivalent, which I think we're nearly there with, but it's just not quite 100%. And given that I've already had it out and taken it away from you once, I don't want to release it and then be like, it's still not right. So that was kind of close. It kind of had a warmth to it, but I don't know, almost like a sweetness. Do you know what? Almost like Boss bottled that aftershave. I love that, but it's kind of a woodsy sweet scent. A masculine, but warm. Best selling scent is hard because we've had a lot of seasonal scents. My favourite scent, and so it's the one I always want to think is best selling, is Beach House. That's my absolute favourite. Of all the ones, and it's really difficult, but of all the ones, because every time you get something new, you're like, oh, Beach House. Beach House, I always come back to. That's the first one that I created and was like, this is it. This is it. Beach House it's like coconut sea spray musk, but it's so unusual to me. I haven't smelt something else like it. And some people pick out more of the coconut. For me, it's more the sea spray. It's like a fresh, but again, a slightly sweet. It's what I imagine a really expensive beach hotel to smell like. Like you walk in and it's the lobby and that's what it smells like. I love Beach House, my very, very favourite. For a minute, Karen was putting actual pieces of coconut in because she's been experimenting with little additions to them to make them look a little bit more interesting, the wax melts. She was putting these things in it and we didn't know that once everything kind of cured, it did alter the scent and they smelled more coconutty. Because other things like lavender and stuff, it's not had so much of an impact. But yeah, bear that in mind. If you did have any wax melts with pieces, that might have changed the scent somewhat. But yeah, Beach House. Beach House, definitely. The bestseller, it could have been Holiday House at Christmas, which we're actually considering bringing back as a permanent one because it's like frankincense, or like myrrh and tonka and patchouli, I think it was, which is kind of festive, but not really. I feel like it could come back and be called like cashmere or something. It was like a slightly powdery, I really liked that one. And then we had a Christmas Town that was Karen's favourite. I didn't like that at all. This is the beauty of doing this together, because scent is so subjective. I could just create an entire line and be like, they're all amazing, I love them all. But I'm only one person and my scent taste is going to be different to someone else's. And so me and Karen like completely different things. And I think that's really, really useful. So often we'll like grade things on, okay, so this is not necessarily for me, but it's actually really, like the scent throw is really good, or it's really effective, or it burns well, or whatever, or, you know, you get a scent for a long time. But we're not always looking for, and I love it, because we don't have to appeal to ourselves all of the time, which is something that I definitely think if I'd done this by myself, that would have been what I'd tried to do. Speaking of which, a couple of people have asked about workload. How do you and Karen share the workload? So I do all the candles, which is a smaller batch. I feel like it's, this is why we started doing the glass vessels as well, because I make stone jars by hand, which then you have to make them, sand them, seal them, prep them, do the whole thing, which again, all of those things that I use in non-toxic, all of them. And so that takes obviously longer, and then you make the actual candle, and then that has to cure and yada yada. But we started offering them in glass jars so that it was a quicker process. For the candles, for me, Karen makes all of the wax melts, which is like, she'll make 24 plus at a time, maybe 48, wraps them all up, labels them all up, all that jazz. And she does all the shipping. So for me, the trade-off of like candles versus wax melts, I enjoy the chemistry-ish part of it. I enjoy the testing part. I enjoy the like mixing the scents, finding what works, all that stuff. So I do those things. I make the candles. I like that. Karen likes batches. Like I can live in mess, my poor husband. Whereas Karen likes kind of batches. She puts them all away. She's done. I couldn't do the thing that Karen does where she is every single day. Like at any given time right now, she could get an order. She'll just literally stop what she's doing, provided she's not actually working. She'll be watching TV at night. She gets an order. She just stops. She packs it. It's boxed up. It's ready to go in the car the next day. Things are shipped fast. If that was me, it would not be anywhere near. People are getting their parcels from Karen like 2 days later. It's crazy. We've had a lot of people message and be like, I literally just placed my order and I made a mistake. But I've had an email to say that it's already been boxed up, and it was like maybe 10 minutes. So Karen's had to unwrap the whole thing because she's been so fast. She's just so fast. So I couldn't do that. She's also got all of the stock at her house, all of the packaging materials, everything. I don't have anything. I make things and then I give them to Karen. She's basically, our entire distribution is Karen. Then I do all of the website and social media, just because that's kind of what I know. So that's how we've split things up. It must be infuriating for Karen because she's always waiting for me to do things. I make the labels, I make the stuff on the website. She'll have things ready to go and she'll be like, have you made the label for the thing yet? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then 2 days later, she's like, don't want to mention it again, but because I'm the worst. So I feel really, really strongly that our workload is good. I hope that Karen feels like it's an equal split as well. She manages really well with my temperamental energy. And I think because of that, working together the way that we do has been the perfect way to do this as well. Because again, I couldn't have made this what it is without her. Because, I mean, honestly, you guys made it so successful so quickly, just like we weren't prepared. And if that had been me, I kind of almost would have just been like, no, let's stop. It's too much. It's all a bit overwhelming. Whereas because I had another person, I couldn't give up. And so on the days where you feel like, I don't want to do this, you can't not do it because there's two of you. So I hope that she feels that way as well. We've also had a couple of times where something's like arrived broken or something, which never ever happens anymore, FYI, because Karen's packaging situation is tight. But there's been a couple of times where something's been broken, or like something's cracked later, or there's been a problem. And those are the times where I would just be like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. This is awful. Because that's my weird rejection thing, my weird thing of like, this is horrible. People are going to hate me. I don't want to do this anymore. You can't just shut up the shop when it's not just you. I was saying to Lee yesterday, we've got a potential new, what's the word I'm looking for? Wholesaler. And they were talking about buying in a much larger quantity than we're used to. And I said to him, that would really stress me out, because if I create like 100 of something and they get them and they're like, oh, this is no good, I would just be like, I'm done. Like, I'm never doing this again. There's so many questions and I'm like taking way too long on each one. Maybe we'll do this in 2 parts. Oh, will you do more colour / sparkly ones? So what we wanted to do this year that we haven't done yet, although it is just February, is we wanted to do a candle bar. I talked a lot about this before Christmas, and then honestly Christmas really burned us out. We did a few markets and it was so cold. It was so cold. By the end, actually, I felt awful, because by the very end we had one more market left and we'd really highly promoted it, and then Karen's mum was ill. Literally the night before, she was like, I'm really sorry, I'm not going to be able to go. And a couple of people said to me, I'll do it with you. But I'm like, I can't. Karen's got all the stock. I have all of the, because I've got like storage for like the tent, all that stuff we can put in the garage. Karen's got all the stock, so we kind of have to do it together. But at the same time, we weren't looking forward to that final one. My husband actually thought I was lying. I posted it on Instagram and said, oh, I'm really sorry, we're not going to be able to make it. And later on, when I told him what happened, he was like, oh, I totally thought that was made up. I totally thought you just made that up to not go. I'm like, no. No. But because it was so hard over Christmas, we kind of just came January, we were like, don't even want to think about doing something new. So we did launch all of our star sign wax melts, which was a really fun thing. And the wax melter is amazing. It's properly magical looking. But we haven't done that yet. So we want to do like a custom candle bar where you can pick the vessel. So you can pick like the shape of the vessel, the colour of the vessel that it's going to be, and it could be so many different moulds. It's going to be so much fun. The colour of the wax, whether it's got sparkle in it. You can even have like a half and half, where like half of the candle is 1 cent, the other. So much fun to be had. But we're not going to do that as a matter of course. We're not going to do like, these are all the candles that are going out and they're all going to be green. That's not going to be a thing. We may do occasional limited editions like the fancy jars that we've done, but that's going to be like one-offs. It's just too much to keep track of so many different things. So we've really tried to streamline. Like last year we had loads of different options of sizes. It's just too much. We do think we're going to do some like tester kits this year. So we were looking at some packaging for like tester melt kits that are in like a little cardboard tube, or little votives, or like travel tin type things, so you can get an idea of the candles. I'll tell you what is interesting, something that I've learned, because a couple of people had said like, what have you learned that you didn't know before, just generally about candles? That was a popular question. Diameter is everything. So like if you get like an enormous candle, if you find in like TK Maxx, which to be quite honest, when I'm feeling less confident about a product that I've made, I try and remember, I have never had a candle from TK Maxx that smelled of anything when I burned it. Never in my life. I appreciate that with natural wax, you are not going to get an instant hit. Wax melts is completely different, but you burn the candle, you don't get an immediate like, oh my God, it fills the room, like you do with paraffin. It might take an hour or two to start getting that kind of like goes around the room, but you're talking like a small candle, you've got 40 hours worth of burn in there, so it just takes a while to kind of like release the scent. By the time you're at the middle, that is your sweet spot. That's like, wow. I'll have a candle burning downstairs, never unattended. Manny's watching it. And I can smell it from upstairs when we're at the middle of the candle. Anyway, that's by the by. I was talking about diameter. You will see a candle. I was thinking about TK Maxx because often I'll find these. A candle that's like really tall but thin. You're not going to get your best from that. What you want, if you want like a lot of scent, is a wide glass. So I've just bought a couple of these like really big, like Bath & Body Works style, thick, big jars. I've bought a couple of those just to test with, to see, because the larger the surface area is, the more scent you'll get in the room. So if you're looking at different things, like if you're looking at tea lights, it's not necessarily going to be the best way of a tester, whereas the travel tins that we were doing before, they've almost got the same diameter as our regular candles. It's almost like 7-8 centimeters across. So you get pretty much the same situation from that, just less of it. So that's something that we're looking at. Also, like wicking. Wicking is like a science in itself. Wicking also has to do with the diameter, not to do with like the overall size. It's a lot. It's a lot. Would you like to stock your products in a store? Absolutely, we would. We are working on it. We're talking with a few different people, both online and in store, and we have applied. Do you know what I'd really like to do? I'm just going to put it out there. I would really love to be in the curated makers store in Meadowhall this year. That would feel like a real bucket list thing for me. They're like a store that sells lots of different products from like local artists. I would absolutely love that. What's one thing that you didn't think would be hard, but actually is, wicking. Do you know how many wicks you can buy that look exactly the same? If I showed you 3 wicks, they'd be completely different, and they're identical wicks. And that could be the difference between a candle, like just not burning properly at all, or burning too hot and the flame being enormous. It's crazy. And the fragrance oil has so much to do with that. So it's not even like, oh, I've got it now. Like, this works. And then I do that the same every single time. Every fragrance oil is different. So I will use a particular formula to test. Then I'm like, okay, that's not great. I'm going to use a different wick next time. This is weeks and weeks and weeks. So much product used, just testing. It's crazy. So that is wicking. Flipping wicks. What's your favourite scent so far? Loved Sugar Cookie, although they're all amazing. So Sugar Cookie is a distant, not even very distant, relative to Happy Birthday that we have now, which is basically, it's not quite the same, but it's very, very similar because it was a similar mix, but not identical. Oh, someone congratulated us on 1,000 orders. Yeah, we got 1,000 orders last week. Not 1,000 orders in a week. That's crazy. We're still a very small business, but we hit 1,000 orders, and we've only been in business for about 6 months, so that's a huge thing. What surprised you most about running a business? It's really hard because although YouTube is not a business, I have had to keep books and taxes and all that stuff. So maybe, I don't know. I'll tell you what was interesting that I did differently because I did this from fresh. We opened a business bank account because it was going to be joint. We opened a business bank account from the beginning. That was a game changer. Again, if this had just been me on my own, I'd have just been doing this from my bank account. I would have had no idea how much money we'd made. I wouldn't have been able to save for taxes. All of that stuff would have been an absolute mess. Since then, I've opened a business bank account for any internet income for me individually because I've been so shocked at how much better I'm managing that money for Smoke and Matches because that's completely separate to my money. That money is the business's money, and then we take payments from it as and when we can, as like wages. But otherwise, like, we are completely out of it, which is incredible, by the way. It's very difficult to achieve, and I don't think I would have done it, like I say, if I'd been by myself, because I don't know if I would have managed the money as well. But because it's completely separate, we are completely out of that financially. So any money we put in originally, we are no longer in it. It is completely self-sufficient. We take money from the business. The money is sustaining. The business is sustaining itself. So anything we have to buy for Smoke and Matches now comes from Smoke and Matches' money. We aren't, like, it's only paying us, which is not, huge amounts. It's still a very small business, but we're completely financially free of it, if you know what I mean. Like, we haven't got any money in it of our own anymore. It's just amazing. It's seriously amazing. And that was truly a shock to happen in such a short space of time. Will we ever do monthly subscription boxes? I think so. That's something that we're looking at. Again, with the packaging of like the different samples and stuff, that's something we'll look into. Would love it if you sold diffuser oils for electric diffusers. That's also something that we're considering. The problem with oils, just selling oils in general, because we want to do that in like an actual diffuser bottle as well, is like actually delivering oils to people. It's a messy business. Slightly concerned about how to, I made some perfumes to go with the Lover candle that went out for Valentine's Day, and I was very nervous of that one as well. I was nervous of that arriving to people and not having leaked. So that's something that we need to look into, because I don't want to have to put like tape all around it. I want it to still look nice and be a nice experience for the customer when they open it, but at the same time, it's more important that it not leak everywhere. So we're definitely looking into it. We want to do diffusers in multiple different ways, but yeah. So many questions about workload split. I think that question comes from the fact that Karen isn't online. Like, you see me talking about it, but Karen isn't an online person. So you see what I do, but you don't see what she does. She doesn't film herself doing it. I film myself doing it because that's literally part of my life, is YouTube and social media. Karen is not like an camera person. When we're together, I'll get little snippets of her. And she does the TikTok stuff, just as like a keep our hand in with another social media. But that's just not her bag. So I don't want anyone to think that she's not. I don't know if people are thinking that she's not doing enough, or if maybe people are thinking that I'm not doing enough. I don't know. But either way, I do think that maybe I give off a false sense of how things are evened out, purely because you only see me doing things. And again, what's your favourite fragrance created so far? It's definitely Beach House. I'm actually gonna go and pour a Beach House candle so I can burn it for myself. Because I make them and then I ship them off to Karen. I have to say, if I had the stock, I would be burning through them. I really only ever burn samples, which is annoying because then I should be making occasionally a candle for me to keep of my favourite scent. Any special editions coming for Mother's Day? We're working on it. We've actually got years and years and years ago. I mean, those of you who follow me for this long, wow. But years and years and years ago, Bath & Body Works did a candle called Green Grass. And I loved it. I loved it so much that I bought some online. They came and they were like melty. It was really weird. But the scent was so specific and so real. Such an authentic scent. I found a fragrance oil last summer that smells so much like it. But it just wasn't seasonally appropriate because we launched in the summertime and it wasn't right. But I feel like spring could be it. And there's going to be so many florals. We've done florals. I wanted to do something different. If I can make the green grass candle work, it's like a cut grass smell. Oh, it's so good. That could be our Mother's Day candle. It's a bit out there, but it doesn't have to be Mother's Day. Maybe it'll just be like a little spring thing. But I love it. I don't even know if I've told you all the things that I would choose to tell you. Like, I haven't shown you any products because I don't have them. But I will point you to our Instagram where I show them a lot. But the last question, I mean, there's so many others, but we may come back to in a second one. But the last question that I felt like might be good for this one is I've just started my own small business. Any advice? P.S. My Christmas smelled amazing. Presumably, she started a candle business. It's difficult. I would say the only advice I would have is the advice that I've learned through doing social media. Because although this isn't a business, it is. Because I make money doing it, it is supplemental income. And other businesses see value in me talking to you guys, which is insane. But they do, to the point of paying me to talk about products of theirs. So it is a business. And what I've always said, and how I've kind of approached that part of YouTube, is to think long term. So it's really easy with something like this. Like, we could make a lot of money really, really fast on a product that's not very good. And then no one would purchase anything else. I looked the other day because it was like around a quarter of the people that have purchased from us have purchased multiple times. I'm talking like 3, 4, 5 times. Someone spent like £900 with us. What? It's crazy. Like, the people who love our products really love our products. If we were putting something out that was terrible, we sold at Christmas, we sold an idea of a product. We sold a wax melt advent calendar. We didn't have a photo. We didn't even have a prototype. We had no idea what this thing was going to look like. We just knew it was going to be 12 days of Waxmas and there would be 12 different things. And this is what we sold, like 100 of them sight unseen. We'd not even really finished out the concept yet. We were just like, let's just see how many pre-orders we got. We got so many pre-orders, we had to close the pre-orders and cap it at 100 because we were just like, okay, I don't really know what we're going to do. We turned it around really, really quickly. And to be fair, that was a really, really good value thing because we, by the end, we had like custom packaging made, all like recycled and recyclable, because that's a big thing as well. We try not to use any plastic or like single-use stuff wherever possible. Like, we use wax paper for our wax melts. We don't use the plastic clamshells. We use cardboard boxes and stuff for and like paper to wrap our candles, like as much as possible. Even the packing peanuts that we use are like eco-friendly ones that dissolve. Everything we do, we try to make it as eco-friendly as possible. You know, it's not possible to do. You're never going to be like 100%, but we can do what we can do. We can change the things we can change. So we put a lot into that. Like, the amount of work that went in was incredible. But what I'm saying is we could sell something, make a lot of money and then just close. because it's not actually that great a product. People are going to complain. People are going to say, we don't, we never want to buy from you again. Think long term. So with YouTube, I always think if you lie to people, yeah, you could make a lot of money, but then you're going to go away because no one's going to keep watching you. With a product like this, with a product-based business, if you make great products, it might be slow, but people will come back. So think long term, because it's not an overnight thing. If you want this to be if you want it to be a real thing. I mean, I've been doing this for 14 years and it's a real slow burn. Anyway, my camera is flashing at me now, so I better go. Thank you so much for your questions. If you want to do another one of these, leave me some more questions. I've got some more that I can actually pick up from Instagram as well. Maybe something more in depth. Maybe I'll show you some actual products. Maybe next time I actually have a batch of products, I'll show you them. Maybe I'll go to Karen's house and we'll pick and pack some things. But yeah, I am maybe going to start promoting it a little bit more because they're right. I should be. Big businesses do, so why not me? But yeah, thank you so much for watching me and for supporting our business if you have, even if you've just shared, liked, promoted us in some way. We really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.